Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. Well, today is a video that's going to cover off a number of things. It may be a longer video. I see a lot of stuff online that I need to address. I'm involved in a lot of Facebook pages. I'm involved in a lot of blogs. I'm involved with a lot of forums. Some that I contribute to, some that I'm just a spectator. And a lot of stuff that I see on them lately has just become absolute garbage. So I'm going to address some of the stuff that I see. And yes, I may get a little overly passionate. Yes, I may start shaking and vibrating. And yes, I may have to bite my tongue a few times, but here it goes. All right. So one of the big questions people ask is how to get better pictures. Well, number one response to getting better pictures from 90% of the sites that I'm on is buy a mirrorless camera. Give me a break, people. Buying a mirrorless camera will not solve all your photography problems. Sure, they have benefits. Sure, things on the mirrorless camera will help you do certain things. But there is nothing that a mirrorless camera can take in a way of a picture that is going to be better than a DSLR, that's going to be better than an SLR, that's going to be better than whatever. Sure, there's benefits. But if you know photography, if you know how to focus, if you know how to set the exposure, a mirrorless camera is going to give you some benefits, but it's not going to do everything for you. Many of the people that I see make these comments, they are relying on their camera because they don't have the understanding of how to set their camera settings and how to use their cameras correctly. I see constantly, get a mirrorless camera because it's sharper than a... No, it's not. Sharpness is a lens issue. Sharpness is not a camera issue. If you can focus your camera correctly in manual focus or in autofocus, you'll have sharp pictures. A mirrorless camera is not going to make your pictures any sharper than sharp. If you're getting perfectly sharp pictures with a Canon 5D Mark IV or a Canon 70D or a Canon Rebel, you're not going to get sharper pictures using a mirrorless camera. You may be able to focus faster. You may be able to have some benefits to it, but sharp is sharp. Properly exposed is properly exposed. A mirrorless camera is not going to blow away any other camera if you use it correctly. If you don't know what you're doing, a mirrorless camera may help. But at the same time, if you don't know what you're doing, you're still going to end up with bad pictures, even with a mirrorless camera. So stop, people. Stop thinking that upgrading is going to be the only way to get better pictures. A lot of this is pushed by the manufacturers because they're trying to make money. And people pick it up and they run with it. On one site, just about 100% of the people on there push mirrorless cameras. And it just makes me I just shake. And one of my comments that I'm going to start posting up there is that, wow, if you're getting rid of your mirrorless camera, can I have your 5D Mark IV? I'll even give you $100 for shipping it to me, seeing that it's no good quality. I'm sorry, my 5D Mark IV is amazing quality. Can the mirrorless do stuff that it can't? Sure. Is it going to get better pictures? Not if you know what you're doing. Will it help you on some of the features with a mirrorless camera? It may. But seriously, people, it's not that big of a difference. If you know what you're doing, you can get a great picture with any camera. Deep breath. All right, next thing. All right. Well, this goes along with it a little bit. On some of the sites that I'm on, they go through these big phases. And one of the big phases is brands. Well, you have to use brand A because brand A has the best camera. And they slam anybody who has any other brand. It's just this brand has to be this brand. Well, after a few months, guess what? That brand is no longer and the next brand's out. You got to have this one, got to have this one, got to have this one. After a few months, the next brand comes out. You got to have this one, got to have this one. Then they'll jump back to another brand. This brand, just people, the camera brand is pretty much irrelevant. If you have a camera with good lenses, if you have a good camera body, you can get good pictures. There are cameras out there that I would not recommend to people for certain reasons, but I know people who shoot with them and they get amazing pictures. So brands, totally, again, irrelevant to what you're doing. If that camera manufacturer has the lenses that you need, if they have a quality body, if they have the accessories that you need, that's all you need. It doesn't matter what the name is on the camera. Breathe again. All right, the next thing. All right, this one is actually a two-pointer here. Well, let me get into it and you'll understand. Many sites that I'm on, people are on there asking for help. Hi, I run a photography business and my sales have gone way down. This is the type of quality I have. What should I do? Well, you get really stupid responses. And one of the big responses, again, goes with the previous ones, and that is people are told, oh, you need to get a mirrorless camera. What? Oh, you need to get a full-size sensor camera. What? Oh, you need to sell this brand and go to this brand. What? If people are asking for help with getting better pictures, changing cameras generally will not do it. Generally, it's the photographer. If the photographer is using a 100mm lens when they should be using a 50mm lens, no matter what manufacturer, they're still going to have issues. If the camera or if the photographer is cropping off feet using one camera, going with the next camera is not going to help unless the photographer realizes they need to leave more room and not crop off feet. Going with different camera types, going with different things is not going to improve people's photography. If they're overexposing all their pictures, going with a mirrorless camera is not going to change that. If they're underexposing, if their pictures are blurry because they're shaky, that's not going to improve it. So please stop trying to tell people to improve their photography by buying stuff. Just learn the photography. Learn how to take pictures. Learn what your camera does. The next thing, a lot of the people that ask for this help get responses on many sites of, oh, all you need to do is raise your prices. Seriously? If they're giving garbage to their customer, all they need to do is raise their prices? This does not make sense to me. On one site, it's really bad, and I have to really bite my tongue when people say this, because raising your prices will not help your quality. It just won't. What's going to happen is if you run a photography business, as soon as you raise your prices, whether you're doing weddings, families, or selling nature and wildlife pictures, what's going to happen is you'll still get some sales at the higher prices. Some people will not come to you because your prices are higher. But even those people who do come to you, once they see that your quality is not better, that your prices are higher, you will lose them too. It may not happen overnight. It may take 6 months. It may take a year. But people are going to realize it. People, if you want to get more business, make your pictures better. I tell my students, and I tell everybody that comes in and asks me, what can I do? Here's what you should do. Your pictures should look better today than they did yesterday. And your pictures should look better tomorrow than they do today. Now, that may be even just minor things. That may be how you compose the image. That may be how you edit the image. That may be how you get it printed. That may be many different things. But your pictures should always be improving. If you want your business to succeed, your pictures should get better. It doesn't matter what your prices are. You can be charging $20 for a session and be booked up. You can be charging $95 and be booked up. But if your quality is not good, if your quality is not getting better, you'll start to lose customers. So please, people, if you see somebody asking for help, if you see somebody say, just raise your prices, if you see anything like that, just don't believe it. And the final one that we're going to talk about, and this one probably goes in with most of the other ones as well. Watch what you're watching for online reviews, because a lot of them are just garbage. All the people are doing is just repeating what they've heard on another site. Here's a perfect example, and this is actually what brought up this being on this list. The other day, I was sitting here doing some work. I had my laptop set up. I was watching a YouTube video from somebody that I watch just to pass the time while I'm waiting for things to happen on all the other computers. And I'm just watching and everything. Up pops a video. And it was an unboxing of a new camera that this person got. I thought, what the heck? I'll put it on, listen to it. So the person gets this new camera and they start unboxing the camera and they open it up and they're talking about this and that. Now, when you're unboxing a camera, that's the first time you've touched this camera. You haven't shot it. You haven't done anything. The person takes this camera and he's looking at it and he's going through all the different stuff he sees and he goes, oh, this must be why the pictures are so much sharper with this camera and why the saturation is just so much better than with the previous camera. Seriously? A button makes it that much better? Give me a break, people. All he was doing was repeating what he's heard on other sites. And those sites were just repeating what the manufacturer said. In fact, the manufacturer actually put out a part of their sales pitch saying This camera has the fastest and sharpest autofocus in the industry. Sharpest autofocus? If it's in focus, isn't it sharp? If it's in focus, how does it get more in focus if it's already in focus? Then they went on to say that we've adjusted the saturation so that the skin tones look better while not taking away from the natural look of other things such as flowers and trees. And all he was doing was taking what he had heard and just repeating it. It was an unboxing. He hadn't even tried the camera. So stop listening to these people's reviews. Listen to them if you want to, but take it all with a grain of salt. Go through and see, well, does this camera have this function? Yeah, this guy says, okay, but don't believe it. Check it out yourself. If you're going to buy a new camera, here's a couple suggestions. First of all, look at different reviews from different places, but understand that a lot of the reviews are either paid for or supported by the camera manufacturer. So take it with a grain of salt. Then, once you get all this information, once you've figured it out, try reading on different sites, try watching videos on all this. Go buy the camera, but make sure you can return it, and then take that camera or the lens home or to your office and try it out extensively to see if it actually does what they say it's going to do. Because chances are that a lot of the stuff that you've read about and that you've heard about is not going to actually work. Here's a perfect example. On one of my cameras that I got, I was watching a video months ago, and it says, this camera does this, this, and this. I went, no, it doesn't. So I went and I Googled it. Nobody else mentioned it. I went and checked it out on a few different sites. Nobody else mentioned it. This person took the wrong camera model, and they were talking about this camera model, and they had brought the specifications from this camera and applied it. It doesn't do that. I have one. I know it doesn't do that. So people, take everything you hear or read or see online with a grain of salt, no matter who says it, even me. If I say something and you think that it may be wrong, go research it. Go check it out for yourself. So until next time, I'm going to go and calm down now. I'm going to have a nice big drink of iced tea and get out there, take some pictures, enjoy yourself, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.